Today we're going to take a look at solving and graphing inequalities. So jumping right into this lesson, I'll tell you guys that this is going to be a lot like solving just normal equations, only we have different symbols. So to start off, we have a mathematical statement comparing quantities that are equal is called an equation. For what value of x is the sentence 3x minus 4 is equal to negative 12 true? So for that, all we have to do is solve this problem. So to start off, we have to add 4 to both sides. Then we have 3x is equal to negative 8. And then we would divide by 3. So we would get x is equal to negative 8 thirds. So negative 8 thirds would be what makes that mathematical sentence true. Next, compare 0.25 to 1/4. Well, if you guys know anything about money, 1/4 of a dollar would be a quarter, which is 25 cents. So these two would be equal. And then if we have 6.5 compared to 6 3/38, 6.5 will be greater than that. Okay. So moving into new concepts, but probably not really. So we're looking at inequalities today, like I said. A mathematical statement comparing quantities that are not equal. So remember that equation is comparing things that are equal. So we're going to be looking at inequality problems. Then we'll have less than or equal to, has that line underneath it. We have greater than, and then greater than or equal to, again, has the line underneath. So make sure you get those things in your notes. And then looking at those first two properties, the addition and subtraction property for inequalities, and the multiplication and division properties for inequalities, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these. Take a look at them and get them into your notes, but just realize that these are essentially the same thing as our properties of equality that we had in our last Schoology lesson. The only difference is we're dealing with inequalities, so we just have an inequality statement instead of an equation. Okay, the one that I want to spend the most time on is this new guy, the transitive property for inequalities. So if we have A is less than B, and we have a B that's less than a C, then by that transitive property, A is less than C. So the B value for both of those kind of connects those two statements, and it just essentially we can assume or jump to the fact, not really assuming, but jump to the fact that A is less than C. And then the last thing that's going to be like a new concept for us today is graphing these inequalities. So our inequalities, when we're only dealing with one variable, are graphed on a number line. So you can see the different examples here. We have x is equal to negative 2, even though that's not on the right spot. So x is equal to negative 2. Then we have x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So what to notice here for these first two, or the second and third one, is that we have a closed dot. So when we have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, those have a closed dot on our line. And then if we have an open dot, that's when we have greater than or less than. Okay? So that's just the way that we have to read these. And then in order to find a value, just take a look at numbers that would make it true. So you could plug in numbers and see what would make that statement true.